Thank you, Ebony, for reminding all of us that there is the secret place of the Most High, under the shadow of the Almighty, that we're all seeking to live in as a state of consciousness. Is a place by which we get to be embraced and embrace the absolute presence that is never in absence, move through the world, but not being influenced by the world of phenomena and the transitory trends that occur, but to be influenced by the presence of God, that we may anchor the realm of beauty on the planet, that tabernacle of the Most High. This is where you go when you pray. This is where you go when you meditate, when you go into life visioning. This is where you go into when you go into sacred service, that you find a place within yourself where you're getting direct downloads from the Spirit of the living God, that you may represent the presence in a way that only you can, as God's representative, representation of an absolute presence according to your uniqueness. This month, as you already know, we're dealing with this theme of history in the making, participant or bystander. And this is the question that's on the table for us. Are we, as we're watching history unfold right in front of us, as we're watching as the world is all fluxed up, that it is malleable, that it is fluid, that great changes are taking place right in front of our eyes, you have to ask yourself, are you participating or are you bystanding, watching to see what's going to happen, rather than being a part of the individuals that are downloading a high vision of possibility and allowing it to be made welcome? In other words, we're not seeking to make something happen necessarily, but we are seeking to make something welcome. That there is a perfect idea held in the mind of the infinite, a divine spiritual prototype, a blueprint, so to speak, that contains infinite possibilities, by the way, which is a whole nother dynamic of conversation, but that we're holding this high possibility that it may come into manifestation through and as us, and we have to participate with that. This is not a time for bystanding in any way, shape, or form, primarily because there are nefarious forces at work that are seeking to maintain the status quo, seeking to maintain a level of stagnation where justice is concerned, seeking to maintain a level of stagnation where so many issues that we are facing, and there are many issues around racism, around justice, around health care, around the legal system, around policing, around education, around miseducation. There's so many issues, and it comes back to the issue of having a sacred tryst with the presence of God, that we may be available to catch the vision of the high possibility in all of these areas, and then become the vehicle through which they announce themselves, through which they proclaim themselves, through each and every one of us, particularly you who are tuning in right here and right now. You are in the minority. What I mean by that, the masses of people did not wake up today and say, I'm a growth-centric being. I am here to embrace and absolutely articulate the next great vision and version of myself. Many people are living on the planet at the edge of survival or status quo, or just seeking to maintain their existence for themselves and their family until they make their transition. Not you, not here. You are a growth-centric being, or you wouldn't be tuning in to this community, which means you're waking up and saying, there's something within me that's trying to express itself. There's a next great version and vision of myself that's trying to come forward and express itself, and I want to embrace it. I want to be about it. I want to articulate it. I want to walk in this direction. I want to know it. I want to live that life. So you are here by the invitation of your own soul, participating in the next great movement of the species called humanity and much more. So when we come to an understanding that, of course, we're not here to bystand at all, we become aware that humanity is at its greatest when it uses the introspective transformational technologies to transform oneself, when that meets right thinking and that meets right action. Did you hear what I just said? Humanity is at its best when the introspective transformation for oneself opens oneself up to right thinking And it leads to right action that is about building the beloved community, being an architect of the next stage of human evolution. So it's not merely about, as it was back in the day, where you would transform yourself for yourself and you were cut off from humanity. Some of that was necessary years ago because the noosphere, the mental atmosphere, is so thick. We needed people to cloister up and just meditate for their own transformation. That would be a great boon to humanity. But that time is past because the frequency of the planet is much higher and we don't need as many people just meditating and doing nothing else. We need the meeting of meditation, the meeting of our transformational technologies to lead to right thinking, which is not mentation, which is not rehashing the same thoughts and opinions and points of view and perspectives that you had yesterday. But real thinking is called inspiration, directly from the mind and the heart of the infinite, that then shows itself up as your actions, how you treat others, how you think about others, what you're building in the world, what you're contributing to with your sweat, what you're contributing to with your conversation, with your actions, you see? And so when you understand that, then you also understand something I mentioned last week, which is the meditation and the prayer does create a vibratory field. And that field, that field has helped people wake up. So when you have the intersection of the years of oppression and abuse and the intersection of a field of awakening, then you have a moment and a movement that's occurring right here and right now where we have great and mighty individuals on the street all around the world saying, no more. This has got to stop. The racism and the lack of justice for black and brown beings, LGBTQ people and poor people, all of this has to stop. So the intersection of the field, individuals have been praying and meditating for 40 years, and there's been mass meditations that allowed the field of awakening to occur. So people that weren't even conscious suddenly are getting new ideas about the possibility of their life and the possibility of how we can live together. And the intersection of that and the intense pain that people have been living under has created a flux, a movement, created a malleable a world in which we are living. And so this is why today's topic is chaos, the good news. The good news of chaos is that we get to witness we're witnessing the death of an old paradigm and the birth of a new paradigm, and it is messy. This is what chaos is. It's messy. Just like a confusion in your own awareness is oftentimes called a high state of consciousness, because you have the death of an old paradigm within yourself and the birth of a new paradigm within you, and the birth hasn't yet happened and the death hasn't yet happened, and you're occupying both at the same time and you're confused. So oftentimes confusion is a very high state of consciousness. This state of chaos that we are in which something is dying and something is being born, is the space by which we are living right now. Now, what is chaos? According to a layman's or a laywoman's point of view, if you can step back far enough from any event that is chaotic, you will see an underlying order that's trying to emerge. You'll see an underlying order that's trying to happen. You can't see it when you're up close. But when you step back, you see, oh my God, there's the birth of a solar system. There's the birth of a rose bush breaking itself out of the chaos of a seed that is dying. And so we're in one of these kind of moments in which the chaos that we are witnessing is chaotic, meaning there's an underlying order to the chaos. And we want to be a participant in this birth of the next stage of human evolution. In other words, something's going to form, and we don't want to sit back and watch something form out of the chaos. We want to be a part of that which is forming, because there are nefarious forces that are trying to hold on to the status quo. There are nefarious forces that are trying to even take things backwards. There are nefarious forces that are trying to maintain a certain perspective and keep business as usual and have a stronger foothold after this seeming deluge of a chaotic energy seems to subside. No, you have to participate in what is forming. You have an intention to be a part of the next level of form through intention and vision. So that means we have to begin to not only have an intention to be architects of the beloved community, not only have an intention to birth a kind and just global society, we have to begin to learn how to articulate what that looks like in all the different sections of society. We have to articulate what that looks like so that we're walking in that direction and not just waiting to see what is going to happen, coming from the consciousness that we are for something, not merely against something. If you're merely against something, you may not have the vibrational energy to be about something, to be about the next stage of human evolution, the next stage of our species downloading the society, a civil society. Why don't we try it? Civil. A society that works for the highest and best within us all. They used to say a society or a world that works for us all, but I don't want a society that works for racists personally. I'm not into it. I don't want, or bigots or haters or greedy people. No, I want a society that works for the highest and best within us all. And the highest and best within us all is divinity. His beauty is love and intelligence, a sense of unity with the presence and the power and the love of God. And so steps are being made forward, energy is on the streets, a certain level of possible justice, certain level of possible reforms are beginning to emerge. It's a beginning unfoldment of something that individuals have been waiting for so long, you see. Now, here's something you must understand. You must understand that whenever there's a movement forward, there's always a pushback from the previous paradigm. Now, this is true within your own spiritual growth, development, and unfoldment. This is true with yourself individually, that when you have an insight, you have a revelation, you've been praying, you've been meditating, you've been visioning, you've been journaling, you've been studying, you've been hanging around with growth-centric people, you've been taking classes, you've been taking workshops, and then something happens to you and you have an insight. Oh my God, you have an insight about your worthiness, or an insight about the abundance that's around you, or the possibilities of how you can live your life. There is a pushback from your previous personality construct that has helped you survive through coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, a persona in your personality that allowed you to feel safe in a world that didn't seem safe. And the moment you start to move in the direction of your next insight, there's a pull and a push from the old paradigm within you. It's called chemicalization. What comes up is the old, and it seeks to grab your attention to keep you from moving in that direction. But as you continue to do your inner work, as you continue to pray, you continue to vision, you continue to study, you continue to meditate, you continue to be around growth-centric people, high-quality community, practitioner work, as you continue, then you're able to see that you're bigger than the previous paradigm, and you emerge, a great birth takes place, and more of you emerges than ever before. It's a process, you see? And so even now, as society is beginning to move forward to a degree, there's a pushback from the older paradigm. The individual that's occupying the White House on June the 12th, the 4th anniversary of the killing of our gay and lesbian brothers there at that club in Orlando, was rolling back the health benefits for our LGBTQ brothers and sisters on the planet. Pushback from the older paradigm. He announced that he was even going to have a rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June the 19th, which as African Americans know, that's Juneteenth, the day that which got the news that Africans were free from being slaves. He was going to do that in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he still is, the site of one of the worst massacres of black people in American history. Somebody caught his ear and he shifted it to the 20th. Still the same place, however. Pushback from the old paradigm. And then you have our sick white brothers reenacting the murder of George Floyd, putting knees on people's necks with the Confederate flag and laughing about it. Pushback from the old paradigm. You have to be prepared for the pushback from an old paradigm when you start to move forward. You see, this is not only individual within yourself. When you're doing your inner work, there's going to be a pushback. There's going to be a pulling for you to stay safe, for you to stay who you used to be because you knew how to navigate from this particular perspective of the coping mechanisms and the defense mechanisms and constructs of your personality that allowed you to navigate through the world and not get hurt. Maybe you developed a level of timidity or a level of being so assertive or bold or negative or gossipy, or you develop certain things so that you can make it to the world unhurt. And then you have an insight that you're worthy. You have an insight that you're loved by the presence. You have an insight that you have the consciousness of abundance, and then you seek to dissolve those parts of yourself, but they hold on for a while, you see, until you grow big enough and more spacious enough to realize that's not you. That was something that emerged based on an experience that you interpreted in a certain way, that you were separate from God, separate from good. You need to be protected, so you develop personality quirks in order to protect yourself. Well, they pull back on you when you have that insight. In society, those particular pullbacks and pushbacks from the old paradigm is exactly the same thing. There's a movement forward towards justice. Remember, racism is how you think about someone. Justice is how you treat them. And so the justice system has been built upon a systemic issue of racism, so that how ones were treated based on the racism was not fair. Justice was not blind. Justice could see, you see. And so we have to be aware of the pushback so we're not startled by it. I was a little shocked at the LGBT pullback on health reforms, actually, particularly on June 12th. I was like, what? No, he's not really doing this, is he? Yes, it's done. And so that means there's work to be done for not just our LGBTQ beings, but if anybody's oppressed, we're all oppressed, you see. If anybody's labeled as not human and not worthy, then we're all in that frequency and vibration. You see, whether it's brown people, African Americans, women, LGBTQ. And so calls upon us, those that are becoming conscious. Personal transformation must lead to right thinking and then right action, which means you find where you fit in this great shift that's taking place. You find what your gift is, what your talent is. You find what you are to offer. Don't sit on the sidelines. Maybe you're a poet. Maybe you're an artist. Maybe you're a choreographer. Maybe you're an architect. Maybe you're in the legal system. Maybe you're in the educational system. Maybe you're a minister. This is not the time to have sweet and anemic talks right now. This is the time to take spiritual principle and apply them to what's happening on the planet. In other words, all of my brothers and sisters of the cloth, I'm calling you out as modern day prophets. Begin to speak from that frequency and that vibration, naming a thing, and then calling forth the vision of what's possible. You see, what's possible, what's possible, what's possible. Now, where do we hang out? Where do we hang out? We hang out. Now, this is not palliative. This is not sweet sentimentality when I say we have to hang out in the frequency of love. Love is the most powerful presence on the planet. Love is a total givingness of the spirit that doesn't have any withhold. It is not sentimental. It does not choose who and what. It is a total frequency of the presence of God operating in our consciousness, and it leads us to come to an understanding of what Yeshua ben Joseph, otherwise known as Jesus the Christ, meant when he said to turn the other cheek. Many people have misinterpreted that over the years. Many people have come to think that if someone slaps you on one side of the face, you turn and give them the other side. poppycock, ridiculous. It's not passivity. Turn the other cheek means you give one form of energy for another. It means if someone's giving you hate, you don't go down to the level of hate. It means you rise to the level of love and take care of your business in the vibrational frequency of unconditional love. You don't stoop to hate. You don't stoop to the same energy that's coming in your direction, because if you're going to be an architect of the beloved community must be built out of love, you see? It must be built out of dynamic peace. And so turning the other cheek means you're exchanging one form of energy for another. And then you're a builder of the kind and the just and the global community. So this is not weakness. This is power, you see. This is dynamic power. And you have come for such a time as this. So the all-encompassing love factor that we surrender to allows us to embrace the metaphysical teaching that was made popular recently by First Lady Michelle Obama, that said when they go low, you go high. That you go to a high frequency, but you still take care of your business, whatever you're called to do, you see. And please understand, you have been called for such a time as this. You have been called. I want you to know something. When you decided to take the leap into the human incarnation, this is what you didn't do. You didn't say, there's a great sale going down there on planet Earth. We're going to go down. We're going to get some stuff at half price. You know, oh my God, there's all kinds of stuff going on in the fashion world. I'm going to go get it. No, you didn't. You didn't do that. In the transcended realm of where you came from, you said, oh my God, stuff's going down. Energy is shifted. Something can happen. There needs to be some people that can articulate a new way, to embody a new way. There needs to be some people showing up, because there's not going to be a savior anymore. That particular epic is over. It's going to come through community. The power is too big to come through one individual. It's going to come through a community of individuals that are able to hold the frequency of heaven on earth. You did not come to shop. You did not come to be a consumer. You did not come to bask in materialism. You came to bring heaven to earth, and nothing less than that, you see. And when we're talking heaven, we're not talking about a place that you go to and you die. I'm going to be good and go to heaven. No, that's miseducation in the religious vibration, the religious strain. That's a miseducation. Part of that's from slavery. Part of that was passed down from slavery. How are we going to keep the slaves cool? Oh, just give them a future heaven if they're good and obey their master, and then they might get there, you see. But even heaven's going to be divided. There's going to be the black heaven, and then there's going to be, the white heaven. So that's a carry. That particular teaching is a carryover from the slave master keeping the Africans, the forced immigrants that were turned into slaves, into that frequency. Heaven means expanded good, state of consciousness, you see. You have come to the earth to bring heaven to earth. That's why you have come, you see. Nothing less than that. Doesn't mean you can't have nice stuff. We're not talking. You got to have good quality stuff, because you want everything you need in order to set you up to do the work that you're called to do. You understand? Now, one thing that the quarantine has probably taught you, if you've watched yourself, that you don't need all the stuff you've been buying. You don't need it. You understand what is essential now. You also know you don't need to get in your car and go around being too busy, doing nothing. Oh, let's go to the bar and meet some people. What? No. You've come to being aware of what's essential, hopefully, if you've used this time wisely. You've come to an awareness of what is essential, what you need. You need some groceries, you see. You need some water. Need some good organic vitamin C for the body temple, vitamin D, vitamin A, systemic enzymes, good exercise. You're beginning to understand what's essential, so when the time comes and you're out and about again, you're not just going to go out and go crazy, get a bunch of stuff. Oh, I can go shopping again. Don't do it. Many of you have been under a hypnotic spell. Consume, buy. Wake up. Don't get caught up in, well, I got to help the economy. I got to buy the stuff I don't need. That's going to help the economy. You're not going to help the economy. The economy has a hole in it. It's immature. It's based on the oil, which is a non-renewable resource, which means debt is built into the economy. Totally, you see. And until there's a shift in energy and we deal with non-renewable resources, there's always going to be a hole in it. Once the economy is built on a non-renewable resource, you enter into the golden age. Because all of those particular things, wind and solar and thermal, you see, it makes the system become full of abundance so that more prosperity flows for everyone. And then the next stage of that is not even charged for anymore except for the delivery system to bring it to you. That's a whole nother topic, but you got to let that seed go in there and understand what I'm saying to you. Because we're heading in that direction. Life always wins. Love always wins. Progress is going to win. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. We have reached the apex of one form of evolution, and we're at the beginning stages of the next form of evolution. The first level of evolution was we changed, species changed based on land movements, weather, environment. There was an adaptation that took place in species, including humanity. Now, we're at the level of evolution called conscious evolution, which means you are consciously evolving. You're not waiting, you're not just adjusting yourself based on a landmass change or a weather change or a climate change. You're changing consciously. It's called conscious evolution. You are participating in your own unfolding. You got the power, babe. You. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, I see those little underwear you got on. You're still powerful. Yeah, okay, you got holes in it, but it doesn't matter. I see you. You are powerful. And we are here to give you back to yourself. That's why we're not a cult. Because we want you to be you. We want you to discover you. We want you to discover the power that's within you and to participate in your own unfolding and be a participant in a global reckoning. Change is afoot. Change. There will be pushback from an old paradigm. Don't go back to sleep. Let me read something to you. Well, the page is gone. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Just turn right to it. Thank you. Spirit, God, ancestors, whoever did it. It's from the book For the Inward Journey by Dr. Howard Washington Thurman. I've always appreciated him. I stayed in Thurman Hall when I went to Morehouse College, and I had a chance to meet and have conversations with him. And so Thurman is one of the individuals that's part of the DNA of Agape. It's one of the DNA pieces. This one is entitled, Remain at Peace. Listen to these words. For those of you who have the book or are going to get the book, it's on page 83 of the soft cover. Accustom yourself to remain at peace in the depth of your heart in spite of your restless imagination. And when I read this, understand this was written years ago, okay? But feel it now. Peace anywhere seems to be wishful thinking during the days of turmoils within and violences without. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of home, peace of country, peace of world, peace of cosmos. It does not matter which. The same sense of pinpoint unreality pervades. There seems to be a vast stirring of energy, malignant and unstructured, that catapults to the surface all kinds of disharmonies, conflicts, and disorders. The Middle East, the Far East, South Africa, North Africa, West Africa, Hungary, Poland, France, Germany, Russia, the Indian nations of the Americas, the continental United States viewed by section, state, or city, always there is present the turbulent quality, the out-of-hand aspect of the common life. Years ago, a freelance writer visited Dr. M.W. Locke, the famous Canadian physician. The technique he used in treatment of bodily ills had to do with foot manipulation. A little crippled girl sat in the chair before the doctor. Very gently, he began massaging her crippled limb. And then he gave the foot a sudden manipulation. The girl screamed, and a shudder went through the people waiting their turn. In the afternoon, the writer saw the father of the little girl and offered sympathy. "Thank you very much," said the father, "but you do not understand. When my daughter first came here several weeks ago, the doctor could do anything to her foot, and she could not even feel it. When I heard her cry aloud this morning, I said, 'Thank God, life is in her foot at last.'" You see, the stirring of energy in myriad forms of unstructured malevolences may well be the Spirit of God. The Spirit of life and of God at work in behalf of a new life or perhaps a new creation on this planet. We must find our place in the areas of the new vitalities, the place where the old is breaking up and the new is being born. What a moment to be alive, and more importantly, to be aware. Of course, this we cannot do unless we're able to gather unto ourselves the wise caution of accustom yourself to remain at peace in the depth of your heart in spite of your restless imagination. God grant this for each of us. During this time, we may be prone to worst-case scenarios. We may be prone to allowing our imagination to be hijacked by past limited perceptions. We want to re-enchant our imagination with the possibilities and begin to hang in the realm of the possibilities. Do you realize what the field is generating? Do you realize that you are ones to jump into what's possible and be aware, as I've said over a period of time, that even the word impossible spells I'm possible. That's what it spells, I'm possible, you see. So, do you remember when apartheid, that was impossible for those walls to fall down? Do you remember when the Berlin Wall, that was impossible, there's nothing going to happen? Well, the stagnant forces of life want you to think that the kind of world we can live in is impossible. Human nature is always going to be a certain way. The system is never going to change. And you just go down the line. Not true. The field that's being created through the dynamic connection with the presence that is never an absence. Field is being generated by individuals who are coming into the consciousness of a love so strong. Not a sentimental love reserved just for our kin and special friends, but the love of God moving through us. We're opening ourselves up and impregnating the field with possibility that will shift the justice system, that will align with individuals to deconstruct racism through education. No baby is born a racist. This is our time. It's a good time to be alive. And remember, you chose it. You leaped into it. Woo-wee. There's some stuff going down on earth. Woo! I gotta be there. And so, this is your wake-up call. Remember why you showed up. You didn't come here to shop. No. You didn't come here to consume stuff. Get good stuff for yourself. Absolutely. Get the best. Get best of everything so that you can have what you need to live your life. But then become aware of what your particular gift is to build a kind and just global society. That's where we want to be. Now, begin to just move that body a little bit. You know, like we want that serotonin to be pumping through the system. You know, we want those tonic chemicals to flow through the body. You know, we want the joy to happen. Put a smile on your face. We want the joy to happen in a very powerful way. So we're going to start this music for a moment. Well, no, before we do that, I'm going to show you. Somebody's dancing with the Rev. Stephanie Victor. She lost her legs in a car accident many years ago. Ain't stopping her from dancing. That's called Holy Cow. Woo! She didn't move. She didn't work out her glutes, babe. Stephanie, thank you for dancing. Okay. Oh, cool. I remember that day she lost her legs. I remember that day. We prayed for her. I remember. And then she went on to win all those gold medals in skiing, in the Special Olympics and everything. And she didn't stop living. She kept dancing and singing and loving. She's married to a kind and beautiful man. And she's living a very powerful life. Dancing! Dancing with the Rev. That's Stephanie Victor. It's time for you to stand up for a moment. Right there in your living room. Just put a smile on your face. This is not frivolous. This is not frivolity. You have to be healthy for the revolution and the evolution. And so you got to move. Serotonin, endorphins, tonic chemicals, slowing down the aging process. Shay, what you got? You got some moves, Shay? Come on up here. Come on up here, grandson. Come on up here. Grandson, come on up here. Come on, man. Stop laughing. Come on. This is King, Shay, Fela, Beckwith. Come, man. We got to hurry up. Trying to build a kind and just global society so this boy can drive home and not be bothered.
Something wonderful is always on the verge.
This is my grandson. What you got? Let me see your moves. Face that way.
Something magnificent is always on the verge of happening. Opportunity is everywhere.
He's a beautiful guy. He doesn't need to be pulled over and bothered.
It's knocking on your
He needs to live safe.
Let me love.
He's going to Howard University.
He's always knocking.
He's an actor. He's a poet. He's a writer. He's got stuff to say.
It's knocking on your heart. We're surrounded by these universal ideas.
You can cut yourself free. It's okay. Y'all seen you dance. Oh, he gonna sneak off. That's King, Shay, Fela, Beckwith. Get some understanding today.
Make that U-turn, universal, undivided, undeniable. You are the answer. You are the answer. Get some understanding today. Make that U-turn, universal, undivided, undeniable.
You ain't got to do what I do. You do what you do. Just move it. Like in Hitch, they said you just kind of maybe just stay right in here a little bit. Then you went to expand it like this.
And then there is this thing called
Focus. force. Stay in the love vision factor. Push the needle forward. We love you. All the people around the world that are on the streets, God bless us all.
When you take that U-turn,
Here we go.
universal presence.
It's getting hot up here.
The universal practices and its principles.
We're going to shift
Your life
in a second. Here we go.
is changed
We're going to hang right here, right here.
in a twinkling
Of an eye. You. Here we go.
You are the
You're the answer.
So understand.
You're the answer.
Make that U-turn, universal, undivided, undeniable.
You. Okay, now we're going to segue a little bit. The band's going to be coming up in here. This is Sounds of Blackness. The got it? Okay, we're going to fade out of that. The house band's going to take over. And you just rock it. Woo, 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 woo. This is spiritual community. This is community, baby. We're celebrating the divine. Life always wins. Love always wins. There will be sacrifices. Yes. George Floyd was a sacrifice. Push the needle forward. There will be sacrifices. Yes. You can win, Curtis. Just another minute. Keep it going. One more minute. Get a little sweat going. Sweat's good for you. enough? You feeling good? You got your mojo? You ready to pray? You've been praying with your body. I want you to assume a posture of confidence. Put your back straight. You're worthy. Stand up straight. You mean something to God. You have a mission. Power is all in you. Regardless of what's happened in the past, stand in your awareness of your oneness with God right this moment. Let this music fuel you right now. Keeping our head to the sky. We can win. And when we win, there are no losers. No losers when we win. Kind and just for everyone. The music will begin to taper down now. And you can do one of two things. You can stand and pray with me, or you can sit and pray with me. Doesn't matter. I just want your undivided attention right now. I want you to close the secondary eyes and open the first eye. Used to be called the third eye, but if we are real, we are spiritual beings first, which means that which is called the third eye is really the first eye. And then there are the two other eyes that allow you to navigate through time and space. So we close the secondary eyes. We give permission to open the third eye and begin to see with consciousness that there's so much to be grateful for, thankful for. We come into a deep, deep state of gratitude. We choose it. Doesn't just come upon us, but it does sometimes. But right now we choose gratitude. Choose it. Choose thanksgiving. Choose appreciation. And let us open ourselves up. And notice that when we choose gratitude, oh my God, we begin to see differently. That which is impossible becomes I'm possible. We begin to choose differently. We take back our choice. We're no longer reactive. We have choice. I choose the highway. I choose peace. I choose love. I choose harmony. I choose right action. Action, right action. Personal transformation leads to right thinking and action. And so we give thanks here now, recognizing a great presence, and here we feel one with God. I want you to know, regardless of your religious background, what you may have been taught in the past, it's okay for you to feel that you're one with God. It's not blaspheming to say your life is the life of God. No, blaspheming is limiting God and pretending that God is not where you are. That would be limiting an omnipresence. No, God is where you are. Don't limit God to some magical man in the sky. But a presence that is everywhere. As the teacher said, we're going to worship God in spirit and in truth. So in this inward glance, we get a chance to see properly that we're one with the presence of God, and the very word that is being spoken is the word of God announcing itself through all creation and announcing itself through each and every one of us that's tuning in right now. That divine health and harmony and wholeness reign supreme in the body temple, that every organ and every action and every function is brought into harmony with the celestial body full of light and brilliance and luminosity, and healing reveals itself right now. So many people are having not only a remission, but a total healing from dis-ease and disharmony. The mental body is becoming clear and the emotional body is becoming pure. The body of our affairs are reflecting the fundamental order of the universe. All of this is happening right now. When? Even if you're out there in the Agape nation, when I say when, you say now, regardless of where you are, just come into the frequency with me. When? The good is happening when? Love is happening when? Prosperity is happening when? Abundance is happening when? Health and wholeness is happening when? Wisdom and guidance is happening when? Intelligence is flowing through us when? All of this is happening right now. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Jacqueline, come help them feel it for a second as I get the prayer list together.
Radiant faith is my friend today, and I see my life in a different way. I'm not excited, no, but I ain't crawling in despair. But I'm better than I have been. In the center of my sober mind, I am sure, I am sure, I am calm, all is well. For I know that every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain laid low. I'm living in the desert, and the rose is blooming on the highway. For my God, I'm blooming on the highway. For my God.
Continue with the secondary eyes closed and the inner eye open. Remember, as we're going through this great change in life, remember the metaphor of the butterfly. That when that butterfly spins its cocoon, one of the things that the immune system of the caterpillar does, that it kills off the imaginal cells of the butterfly. It thinks it's a foreign agent. It kills off all of those new cells that are about to be a butterfly. It thinks it's something bad. And then after a while, there's a proliferation of the butterfly imaginal cells, and it overtakes the immune system of the caterpillar, and after a while, a new creature emerges. Old paradigm murdered Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Kennedy. The emergence of new DNA from a new society, a new vision. But now there's a proliferation occurring, and there's no central leadership. Can't kill the dream. It's too many people now waking up. Proliferation. People are waking up all around the world, saying no more and cultivating a new vision. Something else is happening. Something else is emerging. It's not on one person. It's not on one organization. Every one of us are needed. What's your place in this breaking down of the old and building of the new? They're not going to hypnotize us. They're not going to vaccinate it out of us. We're bold and free, baby, and we're going to stay that way.